For those looking for security, be forewarned that there's nothing more insecure than a political promise. Welcome to Keith Knight. Don't tread on anyone. Today we have Jeremy Kauffman, the CEO of LBRY. He is also the founder of Top Score. Mr. Kauffman, thank you so much for your time.
I am thrilled to be here with you today, Keith.
What is LBRY?
LBRY is the future of digital content and how we share it and how we publish it. So it does tend to get a little bit nerdy, a little bit fast. So I don't know how much we want to do that. LBRY does to publishing what Bitcoin did to money. We're trying to create systems that allow YouTube-like experiences, but without that single point of control, without there being one company that owns the network, which is of course very relevant with current events. So that's what LBRY does as a technology. I will also say, so first of all, if people are hearing about this for the first time, they should go and switch, right? Like stop watching this video on YouTube and go and watch it on Odyssey, ODYSE.com, which is the best way to use LBRY. So LBRY is sort of like Bitcoin. Odyssey is sort of like Coinbase. Maybe that's debatable that Coinbase is the best way to get Bitcoin, but Odyssey is it's the easiest way. It's a YouTube alternative. It's a YouTube successor. It's a better YouTube, and you don't need to know all the nerdy stuff. You can just type in that domain, pop on this video over there, and just be free and be safe from some of the things that you might run into in other places. But if we want to get into the crazy tech and how all of it works and LBRY, I'm happy to get into it. But I do like to say up front and make it really clear for people who might not care about all that, you can just go to odyssey.com and have a better experience today and not need to understand all the complicated stuff.
Now, there is already a website that allows us to watch videos, youtube.com. Yeah. Why did you create Odyssey and LBRY if we already have YouTube?
So, because it didn't actually take recent events for YouTube to kind of stink. YouTube takes a huge cut of the money that's being earned, about 50% of every dollar to move videos from place A to place B. And when you build on YouTube, you are building someone else's business. You are giving them the keys to your business. We're seeing in recent times why that's such a concern. Not just a business, actually. Sorry, it's not always a business. It's a relationship. It's everything, right? It's the content that you make. It's your art, and you're saying that like you're giving this other company control over all of it. All right, and I think that's dangerous and a bad idea for some of the reasons that we're seeing today. But the fundamental idea is to create a more open, freer, fair way of publishing and exchanging content via a blockchain-based technology.
Okay. Now, the good thing about YouTube is they are constantly making sure that bad ideas are not spreading like wildfire, protecting me from bad ideas, just as I would want a restaurant to protect me from poisonous food. Why should we embrace sort of a free speech, Wild West platform instead of a nice structured YouTube intelligence agency collaboration that keeps our minds safe?
Yeah, well, I'm not going to deny that if you want to use LBRY in a Wild West kind of way, that's possible. But I'd actually say that our intent is not to be edgy or to be putting provocative things in people's faces. Our goal is to give people choices, to let people make choices for themselves about what they want to watch. Like because I think it's totally fine to agree that some of the content that's being taken down is not the kind of thing that you want to see. It's not the kind of thing you want to be looking at. Like that's an opinion people can have. Where we should go get concerned is that a small number of people that we don't trust in any other circumstance, right? No, if it's anything other than deleting accounts, no one trusts Mark Zuckerberg, right? He's the guy who called us, dumb fucks behind closed doors, right? And like regularly acts in a way that is extraordinarily evil. And then we're like, please save us. It's like, it's a terrible idea to be asking to give these people more power. That's not me saying that people shouldn't, because I believe people should have filtered experiences, should have experiences that aren't putting content in their faces that they don't want to see. So our goal is to give people choice. It's not to enable, edgelord type behavior. Edgelords might use it in a way that's edgelordy, but edgelords can send edgelordy emails, right? Like, we don't think of email as a provocative technology because, oh, you can't call someone else up and delete email, right? Like it's normal that you can't call someone up, right? Like giving them this kind of control is the weird thing, and we're saying that that's a bad idea, and let's move back to the people having more control.
Now, let's say that I look at the average person that goes through 12 years of, kindergarten through high school, and it seems like for a lot of time and a lot of money after university, the opportunity cost seems like they don't get a great amount of bang for their buck. And I'm speaking for myself. I love school and I love my friends, but at what cost? I mean, that's a lot of freaking time. Am I able to pursue an education on LBRY, or is it just edgelords and cat videos?
Oh no! You can find lots of educational content. There's even a lab category on Odyssey, and that's another thing that Odyssey lets us do is it lets us do some more categorization compared to the decentralized design of LBRY. So you can find all kinds of things. It's not, as I'm saying, it's not just the content that might be getting in trouble on YouTube. I would say that's, a fraction of a percent of the content that you're going to find on LBRY. You find lots of educational stuff, cooking videos, and we're talking about 10 million, approaching 10 million videos. There's all kinds of stuff available on the platform. And in terms of education, I would say, I went to high school in the late 90s, early 2000s. And I was able to be on the internet basically at that age and a little bit younger. I guess actually even like mid 90s we're talking about. And it was so educational for me, right? I share a love of education, but a lot of that education was coming on the internet, finding weird, interesting people doing things. And I think that a lot of that stuff, which was like, eye-opening stuff, plenty of which I didn't end up agreeing with over time, but it's like, that era of the internet is really going away. Like these social media sites have become very corporate with the same kind of rules that you would see for cable television standards as to what you could do. You have to be enforcing the establishment, the mainstream opinion, and I think in a healthy society, there's voices that are always being critical and asking questions of those kinds of things.
Now, the Odyssey is obviously terrific for videos. I love scrolling through there. Is it just videos, or am I able to upload ebooks and PDFs as well to increase the amount of educational access I have?
So Odyssey is currently only just videos, although I do believe if you upload through another interface, they will show up in your channel page specifically still for other people. We're considering how we want to handle this on Odyssey. Part of the reason we created Odyssey for anyone who has been around longer, when everything was just called LBRY, created Odyssey for a couple of reasons. One was we actually regret calling LBRY TV LBRY.TV. We don't regret making it, but we think it was a mistake to put the LBRY name on something that is not really decentralized. It's interacting with a decentralized network. It's like if you go to Bitcoin.com, you're on Bitcoin.com. You're not directly interacting with the Bitcoin network, right? And so we named it Odyssey both to begin moving away from having the web ones named that. We also wanted to to make a simpler experience and really directly say this is a better YouTube. And so some of the areas that were a little bit less YouTube-like, we tweaked them or stripped them down. We may end up putting some of that stuff back in time. That's kind of stuff we're still figuring out how people react to the product. But the reception to Odyssey has been super positive. We're seeing like 1 million people a day use it. It's been and just I look at stats all the time. People are using it for longer. They're coming back more frequently. Than when it was LBRY.TV.
It's so funny because even when I find a good video on YouTube, I'm like doing everything I can to find the Timothy McVeigh discussion that took place at a bar on a security camera, and all the related videos to the Oklahoma City research were James Corden carpool karaoke, Conan O'Brien reads book out loud.
Yeah.
It's like it's like I finally find something, and the related videos are just nothing,
Yeah.
which 10 years ago I would have been on YouTube all night hitting related. It's so fixed, it's so corporate. That's why I can't thank you enough for creating stuff.
This is what they want to amplify. You go to YouTube if you want to watch your clip of Gordon Ramsay or Stephen Colbert. It's not a place to find independent voices or independent thought anymore.
The Brie Larson effect was just amazing. I don't know if you remember that, but it was just like Brie Larson gets a channel and like overnight, hundreds of thousands subscribers and millions of views. Like it's so fake that to watch it's like you can't even enjoy it anymore. Um, I didn't know where I was going with that. The Brie Larson thing has been pissing me off for a month. So, okay. There's something in economics called a network effect. This is the phenomenon by which the value or utility a user derives from a good or service depends on the number of users of compatible products. In other words, so as much as I like this idea, all my friends are on YouTube, all my friends are on Twitter. I'm just going to stay with big tech. If I have that mindset and that sort of network effect incentive, how can I easily merge over to Odyssey and LBRY?
Yeah, so I absolutely agree with everything that you just said. It's a really hard problem to bootstrap a two-sided marketplace, especially when you're talking about an incumbent having the massive network effect that they already have. So I would actually suggest that we've made it through our most critical period in terms of needing to get over that. Obviously, we are not done. We've got a much larger hill to climb still. But the content that's available is already, it's really substantial. I mean, if anyone who loads the Odyssey.com homepage, scroll through it, check out the categories. I mean, it's a ton of stuff. So it's already compelling to just go there and to find stuff to watch. And in terms of what you're going to see presented, it's not going to be the same stuff that you'd see on the YouTube homepage. So we already have lots of people using it. We already have that two-sided marketplace going. We already have that economy going. Now, something that we did do to help bootstrap it that I think helped a lot is we provided a service where content creators could effortlessly sync their channel over on an ongoing basis. So you click one thing, the content continues to come over. We still provide that service. So if you sign up at Odyssey.com, you can copy your channel over, and it'll continue to copy your channel over on an ongoing basis. But I will say that was key to bootstrapping, because basically we went to one half of the marketplace and said, here's a heads you win, tails nothing happens scenario, right? Which is a great bet, right? Heads I win, tails nothing happens. I'll take that bet all day. And so we went to them and said, look, you sign up for this thing. It's no effort. Maybe it works out. You get a bunch of extra, you get some extra money, you get some extra funds. It doesn't work out what it cost you. All you did was press the button, right? And so we were able to persuade a lot of creators to put in their content at a time when our audience was not that large. And we were also able to leverage people excited about blockchain. So there was like a story sort of in the ether of, out there that this could be something new and big. And so we were able to do it. And then we continued to deliver. We continued to build the product. We continued to build relationships with creators and show them that this is working. And then we went out to users and said, hey, come on, come check us out. Less ads, no ads, earn cryptocurrency. And then you sort of you start with this small kernel and it grows bigger and bigger and bigger. And now I think we really are big enough that it's not that we're letting up in any way, but it's rolling downhill, right? It's not, when you're starting, you've got to push and then it gets stuck and then you got to push it again. And now I do really feel like we've got some momentum.
It was so cool just scrolling through Eric July's feed, because I'm like, I wonder how many videos he's posted, and all of his videos were there. I could use the search function, and you even got the search function for a specific channel working, which saves so much time. It's so efficient. One of the things that was very surprising is right after, it's just big that the sitting president was deplatformed on his main go-to Twitter. So a lot of people went over to Parler, and in a very short amount of time, Amazon kicked Parler off its servers, and now they're searching for someplace else. Probably a good thing in the long run, so they're not walking on eggshells trying to please Bezos. Is anything like that a potential threat to LBRY?
So to the LBRY network, no. To Odyssey.com, potentially, but certainly not permanently. And we're trying to make sure that even that potential is low to zero. I mean, what happened with, and I just want to be honest, what happened with Parler is basically unprecedented, right? And so, we are looking at providers and then being like, well, wait, so we're taking calls with them, because the web version, I want to be clear, right? The web version is using sort of traditional internet type architecture. It's then interacting with the LBRY network on your behalf, again, just like Coinbase or these other cryptocurrency sites do. So that underlying network we feel is safe and resilient. And so if you use the desktop client, like the desktop client, which is directly interacting in the peer-to-peer network, we think the desktop client is very, very resilient. So we don't think that will ever go down. Could the websites go down? We're trying to make sure that's never possible. If it happens, certainly we're not going to be down for a week like Parler. I think that scenario is completely off the table. But like if so we use Cloudflare, for example, for to prevent DDoS attacks, right? Which is something that we can face. If Cloudflare drops us without calling us, we'd be down for a couple of hours. We'd update it, and it would be up again. It's not, so that's sort of my read of it. I think it's very unlikely. I think we're prepared. I think we've been in front of this, and the whole idea of the LBRY network itself, right? Not the web access versions, but the LBRY network is this can't happen. Can't happen again. That's the promise of it. Is we're making it impossible. So I think that layer is very, very safe and very secure, and there's a lot of power that comes from that as well. The fact that that layer is there.
Now, one of the criticisms that would have come up, many years ago, when it's like, oh, start your own social media company. That's so ridiculous. Everyone's already on one. With this YouTube sync, I mean, it allows people to start, with 100 home runs on the scoreboard for them. It's so cool. What are some other main objections you have to the idea that it's all over? I'm totally black-pilled. We're screwed. Big tech has taken over.
Yeah, I mean, it's just clearly not over. I mean, I'm a complete optimist in this regard. Like, I actually think we're in a better place in a lot of ways than we ever have been with the developments of cryptocurrency. Like, the recent events were perhaps unprecedented in some ways, but the government working with corporations to shut down activity that is legal but that it doesn't like is like decades of history of that. You could point most recently to things like Operation Choke Point, which is where the Department of Justice worked with the payment providers to basically deny access to everything from like firearms to marijuana paraphernalia to probably 20 different sectors of business. And they were able to debank and take all these people offline. Well, what happened to those businesses? A lot of them got into Bitcoin. A lot of them are wealthier than they ever would have been if the DOJ hadn't gone after them. I'm sure some of them were destroyed. I'm not trying to say it was like a wholly good activity, but like they're not actually winning. We're building new systems from the ground up that are going to make it so that the control that they've had in the past is actually not possible. So I'm a complete optimist. I think they are doing things that are only accelerating trends that were already there, and I think that we're going to win. So I don't know how someone can look at some of this technology that's coming along and be a pessimist about it.
Can you please explain how LBC works?
Sure. That's the token. So basically, LBRY has a blockchain. It's a public blockchain. It's a layer 1 blockchain. There's about 1 billion of the token, which is called LBC, LBRY Credits, and you use a small amount of the token. We're talking about a fraction of one, so fractions of a penny to make a new publish. You use a little bit of the token to make a handle, and this is basically making those entries in that blockchain that says that you exist, and other things that go in the blockchain are things like information about your content, the title, the length, these kinds of things. So there's a little bit of the token required for that. Token can also be used to tip people, to pay people. There's a staking aspect of the token that's optional, that's related to discovery, and we're building that into a trust system. But that's the way that it works. I will say also, I always want to say, anytime, because I'm a nerd, I can go deep on the nerd stuff. It's easy to get me to talk nerdy. You can always just use Odyssey.com, and you don't need to understand any of it, right? It will just work. A lot of people use Odyssey and are interacting with the blockchain and don't even know. They say, we tell you, hey, did you know you were using blockchain token? I say, what? So, because that's how good technology works. Like, I don't care about Bitcoin for the sake of Bitcoin. I care that I have cash on my phone, that when I say I'm paying for a Cuban restaurant, the transaction isn't going to get reversed. If you say, by the way, if you put Cuba or Cuban in any PayPal description, it gets reviewed by a human being, if you didn't know that. To prevent issues with embargo of Cuba.
Well, that's good. It's important to blockade civilians for what dictators do, and I'm just upset we're not bombing them and blaming another country for the bombings. As far as how long does it take to sync my YouTube channel to a brand new Odyssey
Uh,
page?
it, it generally happens very fast, and once your channel is synced, they'll go up quickly afterwards. Right now, we're a little backed up on new channels, so it wouldn't surprise if you signed up like literally today. It wouldn't surprise me if it took a couple of days because we're backed up. I expect that queue will clear, and in the future, it'll be back to syncing, very quickly. Right now, I would say if you signed up, it might take 3 to 7 days. Um, but generally, but also like once you're through that 3 to 7 days, they'll come in quickly.
7 days at the most. Okay. The How about if I have any videos on unlisted or private on YouTube? Because the second I open these, they get reported. So if I have a video on private or unlisted, would that get sync? Would that
It will
sync?
it will not sync
Okay.
private or unlisted videos.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you for that clarification. So let's say I am so motivated and appreciative that people like you did this to really create an alternative to YouTube. What is the best way for us to support the LBRY Odyssey team?
Um, so if you basically by contributing in some way, and that can be anything from um, one of the, just spreading the word, telling other people like almost all of our growth is word of mouth. We're not running advertising campaigns, right? So we got to 1 million daily users, not paying for any of them. It's from people saying, hey, you got to go check this out. So if you are frustrated by what's going on, or you just like what we're doing, spread the word, tell people about it. That's the number one way we're going to win, is if that continues to happen. If you can contribute beyond that, that's awesome. Like whether that's anything from like making memes or making videos yourself that introduce people. If you're a computer programmer, all of our code is open source, and so you can get involved there. Um, but like this is a community project. We have 4,000 people in a chat room. You can go to chat.libry.org and join our chat room, and there's a bunch of people hanging out. Like there's a movement sort of here that we're people coalescing around the idea that what's going on is not okay. If we work together, we can make sure that it's impossible that it ever happen again.
That's so cool. How long does it take to create a library account?
Uh, Pretty quick. The hardest part is going to be so wait. So I should be specific. So if we're talking about like the web accounts, that's very fast. Create an account on Odyssey.com. If we're talking about the handle on the blockchain, that does take a couple of minutes to create your first one, because you're going to have to get some of the cryptocurrency, and then the transaction has to get like accepted by the network. But either way, it's fairly quick.
I just want a number, because when I hear people tell me, oh, I shouldn't have to spend time doing this. Now, excuse me, I need to go spend weeks lobbying a congressman while he pretends to listen to me.
Yeah, yeah.
So I need a number that I could throw in their face
Okay.
and say, I got this from the CEO.
I
So
think
you got no excuse.
so. What most people should use Odyssey.com. You're gonna have an account created on Odyssey.com in a minute, right? You can have your YouTube channel syncing in under 2 minutes for sure. You can have it syncing in under 2 minutes. It's extremely quick to get that set up.
Terrific. Mr. Kauffman, is there anything that I didn't ask you about that you would want anyone to know if they're still on the Twitter and YouTubes and they have so many eggs in those baskets, they're still for some reason hesitant about coming over?
Yeah, well, our request actually is you don't have to go cold turkey. If you're ready to go cold turkey, great. But like you can start the habit. That's my suggestion, is always just to start the habit. So maybe it's just this channel, right? So maybe when you want to watch Keith, you make sure you're always watching Keith on Odyssey and train yourself. Hey, it's a Keith video. Oh wait, I gotta go over to Odyssey, right? And so like begin developing the habit, get more comfortable with the interface, get more comfortable with it, and like you'll find yourself spending more time. And then similarly, if there's content that you can't watch in the new place, you got to tell them and encourage them to come over. But I don't. We can't win if it requires everyone to like make big sacrifices. Like we have to win in a way that's like reasonable and not too hard. For the normal person. If it requires this ideological acceptance that YouTube is bad to get people to use our stuff, like that's kind of fundamentally limiting. Whereas if we're able to create something that's genuinely better than what came before, everyone's interested in that. And you don't even have to agree that there's a problem with YouTube to be interested in that.
Excellent. All right, and just a final thing for the audience. Have you ever read a book that just blew your mind so much you wanted to recommend it to everyone, or one or two books?
I'll give my currently most commonly recommended nonfiction and fiction books. Not saying these are like my favorite books of all time, but they're like recent enough read, and then a lot of people have them. So one is what is the name of it? Robin Hanson's book about like what is the title of it? It's Robin Hanson's most recent book. It's about basically it's written with Kevin Simler. And it's about sort of like the hidden motives, an elephant in the brain, the hidden motives of everyday life. Sort of gives some interesting and provocative arguments as to why people do things that they do that aren't really for the sort of superficial reasons that we pretend are why people do them. And I think there's some really interesting ideas in that book. And then as a sort of fiction series, I read the Terra Incognita series recently. Two Like the Lightning is the name of the first book. I thought it's really interesting, and it has a concept that I think is relevant in it, which is sort of when we force certain social lies, what are the consequences of that for society? And I think it's a really great book series. Also, I like unreliable narrators, and it's an unreliable narrator book as well. So.
Oh, terrific. Well, to help us fight against the alleged noble lies of the politicians and big tech, please check out LBRY.TV along with Odyssey.com. Mr. Kauffman, thank you so much for your time.
Thanks. It's great to be on.